It is Tuesday and time for another episode of the Missoula podcast. Summer is quickly coming to an end. Public school, Missoula County Public Schools all start school this week. And what we love about Missoula, our summer is over. The door has been shut. I'm Brandon Smith here in studio by myself. Steven is away on assignment. I've always wanted to say that. I don't know really what that means. Steven is away. It is he and his wife's anniversary, and they are out of town, just enjoying the last little bit of our Montana summer. Last week, we talked about our new following in Germany and those followers. We are in a new country this week. Looking at the analytics of the Missoula podcast, we have listeners in Great Britain. And I wish Stephen was here so we could have a little bit of dialogue about what we know about Great Britain. I know the Queen, actually, Queen is no longer. The Queen passed away last year. Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth.
They like beans on toast. I know that much.
Beans on toast, fish and chips. There was, who was it? Prince Harry, Prince William, Harry, and Meghan. They left the royal family. That's about the extent of my Great Britain knowledge. There's a big clock there. But the fish and chips, speaking of fish and chips, I had some fish and chips this weekend up in Glacier Park. My wife and I, we went up there for our annual weekend getaway just to unplug. And, it was really cool. I have never seen a grizzly bear, being born and raised here in Missoula. And this last weekend, you can go check it out on my Instagram. I got some footage there. I saw 6 grizzly bears. 2 of them were monsters, just huge. And they look nothing like Monty. That is not, I was looking for a costumed character all my life. And these grizzly bears are unbelievable. But just a great time seeing the bears, the goats, bighorn sheep, some bald eagles. Had a great time with my wife. And, with summer coming to an end, that means hunting season is the next season here in Western Montana coming up this weekend. And our guest today on the podcast, Steve and I had the opportunity last week to sit down with Casey Smith, the owner of Straight Six Archery here in Missoula, and just hear his story about how his business came to be, the adversity they overcame, but just some incredible hunting stories. From the very beginning, Casey's first story will have you on the edge of your seat. But listen to the entire podcast, because near the end, Casey makes a great offer where you can text. So grab your phone, get ready to text in for the opportunity to win your Straight Six Archery swag bag. Take a listen to this conversation with Casey Smith.
Casey, let's start in the most obvious place.
Yeah.
Most memorable hunting adventure.
Last year for sure. Dude, wild story.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'll condense it a little bit, but I won't leave out too many of the details. But so last year I was fortunate enough to hunt a ranch where there were a ton of elk. And he's like, all right, so I'm with a guide and he owns an outfitting company. We're out of Livingston. And he's like, hey, I got one opening. I got to fill it to get on the books. And I'm like, yep, I'll take it. So we get there, and I've been shooting all year long. I'm in the gym, like doing everything that I'm supposed to be doing, thinking that I'm going to go hunt public land and grind it out, which is super fun too. But we get there, there's a ton of elk. What I like about private land is like you actually get to hunt elk and not just bust and hopefully find elk and hopefully not run into people. So we're actually hunting elk. This is where I hone in my skills. It's day 2, and we've got this bull coming in, and I can't see him. I'm on top of a ridge. I'm on my knees because I'm like, I've got this perfect shrubbery behind me. I'm skyline, so I'm like, I got to get next to this thing. I can't stand there. So it's 45 feet down to the bottom, pretty steep angle. And this bull comes into the left, and the other guide is like, dude, you better draw your bow. You better draw. Like, he's coming. And I'm like, is he a good bull? And he's like, he's a good bull. And so I laid my eyes on him for the first time, and I was like, whoa, yep, that's a really good bull. So I drew my bow really early, like way premature. And if anybody's listening right now and knows what I'm going through, like holding a bow back at full draw for a long time is so hard. And he's in the wide open. I'm skylined, and it's early morning. So I've got the sun right to my back. So if I let down and make a bunch of movement, he's going to bust out of there. So I have to hold it forever. And I'm on my knees. I'm not very comfortable. And he's just sitting there, but he turns his head away, and I finally let down, and I'm like, okay, we're in good shape. He didn't bust out. I know what he is because I've ranged that spot 100 times. So I just look away from him a little bit and gather my composure. And I'm like, if I lean up, I bet you I can see most of his vitals, because he stopped right behind a tiny little juniper that I felt like the arc of my arrow wasn't going to go over. So I leaned up and I could see like almost all of his legs. And I was like, he's done. He's sitting at 44 yards. Downhill though. So I draw my bow back and I get downhill and I have the worst execution of a shot, pathetic of all time.
It's not where I thought this was going.
Oh, this is like horror story. So like, and like anybody who knows, like my core group of friends, like we're shooting our bows and we're shooting 120 yards inside of a cup. Like it's not like we're the professional archers, but like we're good shots. And my 40 pin barely got on him and I slammed that trigger like it owed me the most amount of money ever. Boom. And I let it go and it hit him directly in the shoulder. Like, which is not good, right? You're not going to go through an elk shoulder. So hit him in the shoulder. He takes off. I'm so appalled that I just made that mistake. Like day 2, this is my moment. I've got 5 days that season to hunt. And any elk hunter knows that you get one, maybe. And I'm just so bummed out. And I tell my buddy, the guide, and I'm like, dude, I hit him in the shoulder high. I know I did. There was nothing penetration, none. But I was like, let's do our due diligence, right? And give him 8 hours, because I did see a little bit of blood. And I'm like, maybe it got one lung. Odds are not good. So we go back to the lodge and we have to sit there for 8 hours thinking, and you're debating in your head. Did I make a good shot? Did I not make a good shot? Man, what could I have done different? Was there any wind? Did I actually hit him where I wanted to? Should we go back right now? Like all of this starts to run through your head rapid. We give him 8 hours. We go back on the e-bikes and we bump just a ton of elk. Like we're sifting through elk to go try to find the bull that I hit. And I'm so bummed because I'm like, that's a giant bull right there. Yep, giant bull right there. Yep, see ya. And we're on these e-bikes just flying by elk. It was horrible. And so we get there and I get to the spot where I thought I saw the blood, and it was like the size of your phone, or like this coaster right here of a little bit of blood spot where he stopped. So I'm like, okay, elk are tall. They're really big animals. So if where I hit him to his hoof was bleeding, that's a long ways for blood to go. It's a decent amount of blood. I'm like, all right, let's grid out. And 3 of us started doing like big circles separately. But like one guy went to the east, one guy went to the north, one guy went to the south. And we said, let's meet at right here in 2 hours. We're like, all right, let's do it. So I'm off by myself and I'm just down. I'm kicking rocks, like just feeling bad for myself. And I look up and I see the rear end of an elk. And I was like, whoa, there's elk right here. And he picks his head up and I was like, that's the bull I hit. Like, no question. I knew exactly what he looked like because I had plenty of time, because the other guide was videoing the whole thing. Plenty of time to watch back video of what he looked like. He turns to the side, to the right a little bit. It was the same way he was facing. He had a dried blood spot on his shoulder. And I was like, done, but he's feeding. And I was like, he's not laying down. This is not good. It's been 8 and a half, almost 9 hours now. So I'm like, well, he's at 72. I'm going to shoot him. Like, I'm done. My heart rate's not even up at this point because it's already been wasted on the first shot. Heart rate's not up. I step to the side and I hit the biggest branch in the woods. Makes the biggest noise. And he whips around, and I'm not kidding you, ran out of there so fast, not limping at all, like completely fine. And I was like, well, that answers my question, right? It was not lethal. We're like very bittersweet. Bull's fine, but I made a really terrible shot. So I go back and I start negotiating how I can get back in the hunt, because it's an arrow and you're done on private property. Like you get an arrow and you're done. So we start renegotiating. I'm reading the lease agreement and I'm like finding every loophole I possibly can. And we came up with an agreement to buy back in, right? That you have one arrow now. So I got to hunt again. But the next 2 days I was camp B word. You know, I was helping cook. I was cleaning everything. I was doing laundry. I was helping other people. I was calling elk. I was getting the bikes ready. I was doing the things that I needed to do, almost like a punishment, but I had to like go through the download and figure out who I was. And I went through a lot of adversity that week. So learned a lot about myself, which was great. But then the day comes where I'm able to hunt. So that was on Tuesday that I shouldered that bull. Wednesday, Thursday roll around. Friday's my last day on that piece. And it was my last day of hunting season because I had no more time off of work. So we get through gigantic, I'll send you some video. Maybe we could put it on YouTube or something. Like huge rainstorm rolls in, bone dry. Both pieces of property that we are able to hunt are bone dry, no elk. And I'm like, this is absolutely my luck. And so I'm texting my wife stuff like, I'm not the guy that's meant to kill an elk. I own the archery shop. and that's my identity. I'm not an elk hunter. And so it's okay. Most people don't kill one, and I've killed several in my past, and I feel very good about it. But so this tiny pocket of elk roll in, and we're just getting soaked to the bone. They pass in front of us in an open alfalfa field, like 130 yards, which I'm never going to take that shot, especially a few days prior, I hit one terrible at 44. Like, I'm not going to do that. But the next day rolls in. So I had actually one more evening and one more morning. So I had 2 more hunts to go. So the next morning rolls in, and we're leaving that night to come back home, and my hunt's over. The next morning, we find a super small pocket of elk. And we're like, all right, we're good. We're going to hunt them in the evening, which is solid. And then I'll leave the very next day. So I got a bunch of privileges I wasn't supposed to. So we find this pocket of elk. It's about 4 p.m. The wind's perfect. They're talking. Everything's hunky dory, but it's almost a 20,000 acre piece of property, and there's 7 elk there now. Cause it's like, dude, we rolled through there on e-bikes, blowing everything out, thinking that we were going to find a wounded bull. So they're gone. There's 2 6-point bulls in this group. And I'm like, this is good. I don't care. If a cow gives me a shot at this point, I'm putting my general A tag on a cow. Like, that's fine. I just want to get over the fact that I can do this, and I can, I can hunt elk and be successful at it. So, we're in this little plateau. It's as flat as this table up top. We're just down to the bottom, and these elk are pushing, and they're kind of mingling around. And my buddy that I'm hunting with says, dude, if they go to the right, it's wide open up top, and there is 0 opportunity to get a close shot. And I'm like, well, they're probably going to come to the left because there's a water trough down there. But then I go, oh yeah, I'm Casey, and they're going to go to the right, obviously. So they bust out to the right, and we drop down this little plateau, and we're about 6 feet below the rim, and we're sprinting. If you've ever tried to catch up to an elk, their stride when they're walking is like us running, and they're just walking and they're running. And so they're, every once in a while, they, like dogs have zoomies. Elk will have like zoomies, and they'll sprint around the herd, and they can cover hundreds of yards. So we get ahead of them. The wind is still perfect. We are done. It comes around to the point like this, and then it's wide open, and they're supposed to be funneling right in front of us. Well, here comes the lead cow, and she's at 70. And I'm like, I'm taking the shot. And my buddy goes, wait, bull's right behind her. And I was like, okay. And I look, and it is great bull, super nice 6-point. So I draw back, and I'm like, stop him. Cause I'm like Steve Austin, stone cold right now. This bull's done. I've done my due diligence. I shot that morning. We're good to go. So he cow calls to stop this bull. And it's almost like something stung him in the rear end or something, because he laid his head back and got the zoomies again and took off to the front of the herd. And now he's at like 140. But because we made the call and tried to stop him, now everything is looking at us, and we're skyline now because we are on top with them, because it was my opportunity. And I'm like, oh my God, it is what it is. I said, I'm just going to try to let down really slow. My buddy goes, okay, go for it. And so I let down. Chaos. Everything takes off. Now they're sitting at a couple 100 yards. Well, what we didn't understand was the other 6-point that was with that group was like, he got beat up or something. So he was just kind of tagging along. All that commotion and all the elk sounds and all of that piqued his attention enough to come right into us from behind us through our wind scent and everything. I have no idea why he would have done that, but he comes in, he bugles. I look over, and he's standing right there, and I know he's in range because he's a flat ground, and I'm like, he's done. So I draw back, and I'm like talking as loud as I am right now to my buddy. I'm like, give me the range now. And so he hits the rangefinder. He says he's 75 on the button, and the bull kind of looks at me like that, and I'm like, you're so done. And some moment, my buddy calls it my kill eye. I got my kill eye. I switched this trigger, and I sent that thing, the best shot I've ever made ever. Center punch. 75 yards. The bull took off. There's blood going everywhere. I have the still shot on my phone of when I FaceTime my wife, because I had service, and I FaceTimed her, and I couldn't even talk. I was bawling. Like, all the emotion came through like in that second, and I knew I had accomplished it. And that was my first bull that I've gotten with a bow in the last 12 years. I'd had such a dry spell, and I just haven't gotten it done. So all those things are running through my head. Like, maybe I'm not the guy. So it's wild.
Dang. Well, we could wrap up right there. That's like such a great story. Like, I'm just on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Waiting to hear what
I felt
happens
like it was
next.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Good. I mean, that was my best hunt ever.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time.
Sure.
That was just last year, you said. Let's go back to the very, very beginning.
2014.
2014.
Okay.
What Who was Casey in 2014, and what was the dream? What was the goal?
I was really young, still really young. I'm only 35, but in 2014, I was 24. No, 2013, I was 24, about to be 25. And just knew that I wanted to start my own business. Didn't know what it was. I knew I loved archery. I knew I loved helping people. I wanted to be in sales, like our whole family, and my dad has been in sales. So I knew something along those lines. So I started racking my brain. I had worked at archery shops before, and that was really my only hobby, was archery and golf, which people think, well, there's nothing in common. I'm like, yes, there is. Everything is in common with archery and golf. It's all you. And if you're off by just a little bit, you miss the shot.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes into play. And so, yeah, I had worked at Costco the previous 5 years. And anybody who's worked at Costco, great job. They take care of their people. Awesome. But to move up in that company, they hire within. So you get your own login at Costco and see what jobs are open in the United States. When you get hired on Costco, you're part-time and you get 24 hours a week. And the only way you move up again is to apply for these jobs, get interviewed, and then hopefully get that job. And if you do, then you'll move up full-time and you'll move up to cashier. You move up to whatever. When I left after 5 years, I was part-time getting 24 hours. Scrambling for 40 hours, right? So if someone wanted a day off, they'd fill out the slip. I'd sign it. I'm like, yep, I'll take your shift. No problem.
Yeah.
Like, so, but then, so I had 23 interviews at Costco to move up, and I tried to go everywhere. Fargo, North Dakota. I tried to go to New Orleans. I tried to go to Kirkland. I tried to go to name it. And it just never worked out. So listen, I wasn't an all-star employee. Okay. Let's get it real. I was really young. I was going through my phase. All right. So I get it now. Moving forward, I'm like, no kidding, you didn't get the job. Like,
They're discriminating
Oh,
against you.
man,
That's
yeah,
what you thought
there's
at the
no
time.
way.
Would you today hire 25-year-old Casey?
25-year-old Casey. Yeah.
Okay.
You bet.
24-year-old Casey.
No.
Okay.
And anywhere younger than that.
Okay.
No chance. So
Okay.
I understand it. And I'm very close with all my managers now, because I'm like, they can talk freely to me now. And they're like, dude, come on. And I'm like, no, I get it. There's stories out there that we won't disclose here, but there's many of reasons why I didn't get it. So I told my wife at the time, we'd been married for a few months. We got married in 2013, August 31st. And I go, well, my 23rd interview is coming up. This is sometime in December.
Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Coming up here.
Yep. Happy anniversary. Lovely, Jess. And it's our 10 year being married. It's
10
wild.
years. Crazy.
Anyway, 23rd interview. I was like, Jess, if I don't get this, I think I'm going to start my own business. And I'm pretty sure I locked it down to an archery shop. And she goes, okay, honey, nice. Let's go to bed, kind of thing. And I'm like, didn't sleep much that night. And I'm like, all right. So the interview was the next day, crushed it, because it's the same questions and answers every time. And I knew what was coming. And a couple of days later, I got the call, hey, sorry, we went a different direction. And I'm like, no problem. I wasn't phased at all. That one didn't really hurt me. So I just went to work at our apartment. We're living up on top of South Hills in a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath. Then I started going to work. I started calling everybody I knew that had done what I'm trying to accomplish, asking the right questions. What's an SBA loan? What's cost of goods mean? What is margin? All the stuff that you need to know in business. And I ended up learning it when I opened. I started learning all of this stuff, so that's what the dream was to me. I just wanted to start an archery shop. That was my only goal.
And so then Straight Six, your current location here in Missoula.
Yep.
That's been your only location, right?
Yep.
You started there day one.
Yep.
Okay.
How did you pick that location? Available?
Super fortunate. So the owner of Onyx Maps, Eric Siegfried at the time, had the same realtor so I called Eric. He's a good buddy of mine. We've hunted elk together. We know each other really well. His brother-in-law was in my wedding, Ryan Revis, and he works at US Bank. And so I started asking him banking questions, started asking Eric business questions. And he introduced me to Tex Cates, who owns Cates Realty. And so we started looking for locations everywhere, and we looked at a handful. But I really wanted the good location. And the only thing that I had learned on Google was location.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Tripp's going to love this, but I love Reese's cups, and I can't not buy them at the store, but they're always at eye level when you're checking out. So I'm like, I have to find the Reese's cup of the location. And so our location on Google Maps is the dead center of Missoula. Dead center. We got very lucky finding that location. There's not a lot of luck in business, but that one was a stroke of luck.
That's awesome.
That location's crazy.
So you opened day one,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, from what I recall, you're just hustling. You're grinding. You were 80, 90 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
You were 24-hour shifts in there. And then you got to the place where you brought on your first employee.
Yeah.
Things started going well.
Mm-hmm.
And you straight six kind of hockey stick, if you will, in terms
Yeah.
of customers, products,
hmm
relationships.
Yep.
Tell us about like the entrepreneur story, because a lot of people who listen to this and we
hmm
ourselves, we've all started businesses and there's the grind. But what was it for you? What were some of the obstacles you had to overcome while running a business that was, that tension between your passion and your hobby
Yeah.
versus your business?
Yep. Oh, there's tons. It's an everyday battle. I think that I learned a lot. I learned very early on, and I'm very fortunate that I learned this lesson, that I have to detach business, friendship, and my passion for business. Since day one, every decision that I've made for my companies has always been for the company, and I don't really care about my feelings. Or like if it's going to, no matter what, you're kind of in a lose-lose when you're in business. You're going to make a decision that's going to hurt someone's feelings. But if it betters the business, it betters them too.
Yeah.
And I learned that way early, and I'm very, very glad that I did. And before our first employee, I said, from this day forward, I promise, and I vow to myself that no matter what, I'm going to make a decision that betters the company, not me.
Putting you on the spot here, what's one of the biggest regrets you have looking back at the last 10 years? Or something you would do differently?
Different?
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my biggest regrets is, he might listen to this, and we're very close now, but I took on an investor that was probably the worst decision of my life. Yeah. Almost put us out of business. I made the decision to almost put us out of business, but so we'll go from there. So it's year one and things are going good. May 2014, we open, we're doing $6,000 a month. And I'm rich. And I'm like, yo, we're making money and we're not making money, right? Everyone knows that's not money. So it leads up to hunting season. And we started with a $40,000 SBA loan for some odd reason. I also didn't have a calculation. I thought that sounds like a new truck to me. So if this fails, I can pay off a new truck, right? So I'm going to take out a $40,000 loan, not knowing what the inventory was going to cost me, the racks that I need to hang stuff on, the computer, the security camera system, point of sale system. You don't think about that when you're 24. Right. So we get going through our inventory. We're starting to make some money, but our money's going straight to bills and our overhead. And I'm not taking a paycheck. And I knew that you shouldn't take a paycheck, right? For at least 3. We did 6 for some reason, 6 or 7 before I took a real paycheck from our company. But so now we're running out of inventory. Our money's not going where it needs to be going because I'm the only employee there. My wife was not on full time at that point. We didn't have an accountant. So I go to my mother-in-law, who works also at US Bank with Ryan Revis at the time. And I go, what do we do? Because I'm not sure. We're depleting our cash flow. We're depleting our inventory. And I still got people coming in the door, and it's about to be hunting season. It's about to be August, September. And then things are going to slow down. I didn't know they were going to slow down because it's my first year. But so she introduces me to a gentleman who is a very successful business person and has his hands in a lot of things. Business is business. And if you know how to run one, you can probably run another. So he calls me and we sit down and we meet. And he goes, well, we could take care of your little problem where I could finance what you need right now. And I could just open you up on my credit card with the same limit. But you have to order that stuff on that credit card so I can track it as well and know that you're not like buying fuel or lunches or any of that. And I'm like, no problem. I ended up buying so much inventory. Like we started with 40,000. And by the time the end of year 2 rolled around, we were somewhere in the $280,000 range in debt, hard debt, with an investor, bank, credit cards, all that stuff. And
Are you losing sleep at this point? Is this stress? And
absolutely. Well, I was stressed because we didn't have inventory to sell to the customers. So I kept ordering it. And then all the bills came due. So how my industry works is I can order 1 and pay for it at that moment, or I can order 20 and they'll give me terms, which I wasn't really sure what terms were. And I was like, oh, well, for sure have the money in 90 days. Like it's impossible not to have the money. That's so far away. And so 24-year-old, that's why I would never hire me, because you don't know anything. And I got this business that I'm supposed to be running. So I'm 25 now, April 29th, I turned 25. We opened May 3rd. And so fresh 25-year-old kid. And we over ordered our inventory, and then October and November roll around. And for example, I have no problem sharing these numbers with our listeners, but we did like 33,000 in August. Then we did like 22,000 in September. And then we did 4 and 3 the next 2 months. But those were our terms. Those were when those bills were due. So I ordered $100,000 worth of inventory on a credit card from this dude, that I got introduced to. So that was probably one of my biggest regrets, is not pacing myself and like one-offing the inventory and having the cash to pay for it first.
Well,
sure.
you didn't know what you didn't know, right?
Had no idea.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that's one of those entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
you got to get your butt kicked.
Got to go through it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
As you're, well, it sounds like things obviously turned around. When
Oh,
did
yeah.
you start seeing that? When did the light bulb come on where you're like, okay, I can't be in this much debt. I got to quit this. How does this story end?
The night that I told that investor on the phone to never contact me again, I owed him a ton of money. And I said, you're going to get your money, but you need to lose my cell phone number. I need to focus and I need positivity. And you are none of the above. Don't call me. Don't contact me. When I've got the money, I'll write you a check. And it took us, I don't know, probably another 2 years in full. We paid off the bank, all of our credit cards, and that investor. And to this day, we have no debt on our companies. Zero.
That had to feel so good to
Oh,
write that check. And
it was incredible.
yeah,
It was unbelievable. And so what I appreciated him doing was not saying like, I knew you had it in you, dude. Great job, blah, blah, blah. Like, don't give me that because you didn't believe in me. Right. So it was kind of one of those things where we shook hands and he goes, thank you very much. And I said, no problem. And we left. I haven't talked to him since, but it's kind of weird. We respect each other. And I guarantee you, if I were to call him today, he'd pick up the phone and we can go have a beer, but it was not good for a while.
crazy.
But that's the light switch for me. I figured I'd got to do this because there's no way that now I can't. It's not a truck loan. I got to get to work.
What's a piece of advice you would give to 25-year-old Casey looking to start a business today?
Ask for help always. 2 questions that I'm asking every day now is, how can you help me and how can I help you? Like, what do you have to offer me? And in return, is there anything that I have to offer you?
Yeah.
Because it goes both ways. A lot of people are willing to help. And I didn't know that. My ego was so big.
Yeah.
You know, my name was on a business card and it said owner, which means nothing. You know, by the way.
Yeah, I own all the debt is what that means.
It doesn't mean a thing, man.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would ask for more help, but not like financially, like strategically, how would I get myself out of this debt? Knowing what I know about my business. It's margin, it's cost of goods, it's our services, it's our product knowledge, it's that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It'd be a slower process, but
Did you learn that just in the grind or did you find some mentors along the way that helped you start to get things rolling?
No. And I say no, like there's not one person that I talk to about all of that stuff. No. So I literally Googled a lot. I started then once we got out of that debt, I started buying books online and like doing online courses and then asking better people better questions. I rephrased myself.
One of the things I love about Casey, just a couple weeks ago, was at his house for dinner, and he buys books and loves to read, but he does it so much that he doesn't realize that he's already read that book or owns that book. So he has multiple duplicates on his bookshelf of books he's already read.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
That's amazing.
My algorithm will pop up and be like, you would like this. And be like, oh yeah, I definitely would like that book. And then I go into my library and I'm like, there's 7 sticky notes in there. There's highlighter everywhere. Like, I've already read this.
Awesome.
Didn't retain anything.
No,
So
no.
great.
Obviously I need to read it again because I didn't retain it.
What were a couple of those books that you remember being super impactful? Is there 1 or 2 that you can?
Yeah. Ryan Holiday's Ego is the Enemy.
Yeah.
Read it every year, every single year. I've read that book 10 times. First, Break All the Rules is another one. Really, really good. Those are the 2 really that like, after I read Ego is the Enemy, then I read his follow-up to The Obstacle is the Way. Those books really helped me a lot.
That's awesome.
And then Whatever It Takes. I think Simon Sinek wrote that, or Leaders Eat Last. I can't remember.
Leaders Eat Last, Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
Let's bring this back to Missoula.
Sure.
A little bit.
Yep.
You're born and raised here.
Yep.
The listeners may not know this, but Casey and I have the same last name.
Mhm.
That is because we are cousins.
Yeah,
we are
family.
related. So that's how I have a little bit of intel to his backstory.
Yeah.
Have watched this journey. You, Casey, have taken just every, I don't know what I'd call it, every challenge you've been faced with from an early age and different adversities that you struggle, from school and education and finance and just different family dynamics, and have not backed down to one of those. You've taken them head on, you've overcome, you've learned, you've fallen on your face, you've got back up, and you continue to do that every day.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think I admire the most is what you just said. You now look for opportunities to help other people.
Oh yeah.
We just had a recent conversation where you're looking at how can Straight Six create additional opportunities where you're just not selling a product, but you're actually helping deliver that product, which always looking out for what's best for
Yep.
your customer. So I know this last season, we got hunting season coming up in just a couple of days. Archery's kicking off.
Mhm.
This last month has been adversity,
Yeah.
difficult
Sure.
for you.
Yeah.
Talk about the adversity you guys are facing specifically in your industry.
Okay.
And then what makes Straight Six different
Yep.
and how you guys are handling that adversity.
Absolutely. So it's the same phone call, same customer every single day. Right now in August. Oh my God, I just broke my bow out of the case. I need a string, dozen arrows, dozen broadheads now. You know, other archery shops or maybe other businesses that sell competing products would probably just say, yep, here you go. This will work. The adversity is getting up and putting your feet on the ground and knowing that you're going to get kicked in the teeth and knowing that you're going to get demanded a lot of our customers, but that's why we're there, you know, at the end of the day. That's tough to do. That's our only adversity right now is like taking in projects, and they take a long time this time of year. They really do. String manufacturers are weeks out. You know, you can't get product very quickly right now from bow manufacturers or arrow manufacturers or a new site or a new rest. We've combated that really well with our purchasing ability over the last 10 years. We have a lot of history. So we know in quarter 4, quarter 3, we need X amount of this product.
Yeah.
So we've done really well there. But what makes us different about all of that and all of that happening to us is it's happening for us. And we understand that you're coming to us and you're trusting Straight Six with your season. That's why we take a while. We just posted on our door. If you can't have it fast and good. It doesn't work. We take our time and we make sure it's perfect. We stamp our name on it. That means a lot. So that's what makes us different about everybody else. There's never been an archery shop in this city.
Yeah.
And God bless them. I worked for one of them, a great family, but they don't do what we do. We're the best at what we do, period.
And you guys have a second location now in Bozeman.
Yep.
You're doing the same thing on
Mm-hmm.
the other side of the divide.
Absolutely.
I would imagine between Missoula and Bozeman and all of the news, and you've got Yellowstone, and there's this draw for Montana. People are coming here like crazy, and people are coming here to hunt. They want the Montana experience.
Yeah.
I would imagine you've sold a few bows to some pretty cool people.
Yeah, we have.
I want you to name drop here. All right. Who's been in Straight Six? Who's been a customer of yours that you've had the opportunity to sell a bow to that you thought was pretty cool experience?
Pretty cool. Recent or it doesn't matter.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Recent has been Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel.
Really?
Yeah. Jessica's always in our shop. Like she just drives herself and hangs out. She's just there. And now like our staff, we're all good friends with her, and just, she comes in and we're like, hey, what's up? And we punch her little range card, you know, cause we have a range in our Bozeman location. She goes to shoot, but that was really cool.
That's awesome.
Rip from Yellowstone.
Oh yeah.
Bought a bow in a location and
is he as dreamy as all the ladies think he is?
He's not a real cowboy, believe it or not.
Yeah.
What? What? He's just an actor?
I know.
You're wrecking all my dreams.
I know. It's really brutal. But I don't even know if his facial hair is real. But anyway, cool guy. And then the guy that plays Casey Dutton on Yellowstone is a good friend now. We exchange numbers and text all the time. And I'm hunting turkeys on his property and all sorts of stuff. And
That is awesome.
they're good people. The cool part about like all of these status people, like the Timberlakes and the whole Yellowstone cast, and Taylor Sheridan, who founded the show, was the first one to come buy a bow from us. They're, you know, and like we talked about it the other night, really close with Chase Rice, and he bought a bow 8 years ago, and we've been friends ever since. I mean, he stays at our house. It's his room basically in our house. But like, they just want to connect with real people because they're real too.
Right.
You know, and I don't, and no, our staff doesn't either. We're not going to pedestalize you just because of what you've accomplished. It's really cool and I admire it. Yeah. But we look at it like we're here to do the same job no matter what. No matter if Brandon was to buy a bow tomorrow and then Elon Musk buys a bow the next day, you guys are going to get the same service.
Right. Well, and that speaks highly of you guys and your team, because those A-listers, they could go anywhere.
Yep.
They could hop online and buy the best of the best and have it hand delivered.
Most of them could buy the company.
Right.
Right. Like if you wanted to buy a Hoyt bow, most of them could just buy Hoyt.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So that's really cool. You've built something special, and love seeing local small businesses grow and
absolutely.
thrive.
And we didn't want to, I didn't want to move born and raised in Missoula, and we could have, gone to other locations, but this is my home.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave here.
Yeah.
So
What is one of your earliest memories of Missoula, or something in Missoula that's changed that you wish was still here?
oh man, the McCormick pool.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And now it's cement.
Yeah.
I don't don't know why I keep thinking
With the
that, but
diving boards and
yeah.
that's
And
awesome.
and we weren't allowed to go to the deep end and this and that. Like my brother, I about said he Baywatched there.
Baywatch.
But no, that's not it. But he was
He
the
was a
guy.
lifeguard.
He was a lifeguard. That's right. There, I couldn't think of the name. He
Yeah.
Baywatched. Not quite as dreamy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But he was a lifeguard there. So I went there all the time and rode in his truck. We'd get Burger King and we'd go because he was working and I got to swim for free every day.
Great. That's
Yeah.
a great one. I've not.
Or like the skate park over by the fair.
Yeah.
I remember trying to be a punk skate. I was a rollerblader, so
That's
yeah.
crazy.
So you're pretty cool.
I was
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I was
You
the
were doing
outcast.
well with
Yeah,
that.
I was doing well.
Okay, some rapid fire questions for you here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Before we wrap up.
Yep.
If we just happen to say, hey, if somebody listens to the podcast and they want something from Straight Six,
Yep.
and we said, hey, text us, shoot us a text at 406-888
Yep.
MSLA, and the sixth person who texts us, what are they getting from Straight Six? What are you guys giving away?
I'm gonna give you a swag bag.
A swag bag.
Yep.
So,
Nice.
You can't return it, but we got these new crop tops. So if a guy wins it, you have to wear it.
Yes. Post pictures. Be sure to
Yeah.
tag the Missoula
Yeah.
podcast and
Yep.
Straight Six Archery.
Yeah.
So a swag bag. So
Yep.
again, text Straight Six to 406-888 MSLA, and if
Mhm.
you are number 6, we will get you hooked up with that swag bag and crop top. From
And we can
Straight
mail
Six.
it too.
We can mail it. Awesome. Okay, Steven, go fire away with some of these questions.
All right. You're a early morning guy, have to be business owner,
Yep.
elk hunter.
Yep.
Where's your favorite place to get coffee in Missoula?
Good Americano.
Oh, we've heard that before.
We have. How about restaurant? Favorite restaurant?
Double front chicken.
Yeah.
I'm telling Ryan Tripp.
That's a
That is
classic.
not
I tell
on
Ryan
the, that
Tripp
is
I
on the
had
menu.
Chick-fil-A and Reese's cups today.
Ryan's becoming almost a curse word, his name in households.
So we'll pause on the rapid fire. He texted me yesterday because him and Maddie went to a movie and he goes, thought of you. And he sent me a picture of Reese's Pieces. And I was like, I don't know what to send you back. Like, all right, cool. Thanks.
Here's my protein shake.
Yeah.
For our listeners, go check out episode 2.
Yes.
Ryan Tripp,
Yeah.
personal trainer,
Yeah.
and Brandon and Casey's
Just a stud.
nightmare.
Oh my God. Drink your water, Brandon.
Yeah.
What zip code are you?
59801.
All right. The original.
Yep.
So Missoula, our whole life we've heard and
Yeah.
seen the bumper sticker and the saying, keep Missoula weird.
Yeah.
Missoula, no doubt, is weird.
It's weird.
From your side of the table,
Mhm.
what's one of the weirdest things about Missoula?
You could be on the southwest part of town and feel like you're kind of in the country, like Montana's supposed to feel. And then you could cross the river and you're like, whoa, where am I right now? Like downtown Missoula, not quite my scene. I'll go down there. The food's really, really good, but that's the weirder part.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, man. And what do you love most about Missoula? Obviously, you've made your home here, start your
Yeah.
business, but what do you love most about it?
It's still got that culture that why I didn't want to leave. I mean, the Missoula is that place that you want to come to and feel welcomed. It's not like people are going to move here and get chastised for moving here and plummeting or skyrocketing the real estate. It's your fault kind of thing. It's not really been like that for Missoula for me. But growing up, born and raised here, I just love everything about it. I love Grizz games on Saturdays in the fall. I love the restaurants. They're all the same still. It's the same people. I like the schools. I made a lot of friends here that are still here. And there's a reason we stick around.
Last question.
Yep.
Opening day, it's just a couple days away.
Yep.
Where's the best secret spot in Montana to get a bull elk?
Wyoming. Yeah. Not Montana. No. No, I think
You don't have to answer that.
There's a
That was-
lot
that
of
was
good
a setup.
public property, but don't go where I go.
Yeah, there
We'll
you
be
go.
in fine
Nice.
shape.
Nice.
Hey,
Yeah.
man, we really loved having you on here.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to have you on again.
Yeah.
And we need to hear more stories. And you're such an inspiration for
Yeah,
people
appreciate that.
wanting to jump into starting their own business and not knowing what to do. So
I'm
I
ready,
learned
I'm
a lot
ready.
from you.
People
thank
want more information, want to find Straight Six.
Yeah.
Where are you guys? Social media, website, where can they find you?
Yep. Straight6archery.com. Our socials are at Straight6archery with the number 6. Don't send me an email saying hello straight six archery and it's SIX, you will not get a reply.
You know nothing about me.
Yeah, that's the funniest part. People try to sell us a new product and they're like, hey, I was across your website, it was straight six archery, and they spell it out. And I'm like, well, your chances went out the window, because if you wanted to know about me, it'd be that. But at Straight Six Archery, we have a TikTok, Straight Six Archery. We have a YouTube channel, Straight Six Archery, which is very informational. You can call or text us anytime at 406-926-1013. We'll answer any question you have.
You're doing a little bit of a podcast.
We
You
are.
got some podcasting going on.
Straight Six Archery After Hours.
Awesome.
Yep. It's explicit. And you get what you get.
That's awesome. Sweet, dude. Well, just appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking time. I know it's busy. Season right around the corner, but best of luck to you. Go get that bowl. And
thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, man.
You bet.